Stuart here. Short video today on institutional failure. So, an institutional failure occurs when the wheels come off the bus. When the organization you're working for isn't hitting its desired goals, when things are going very badly, when the humans that are supposed to be making sure that things don't go badly aren't doing a very good job, and you find yourself squash bang in the middle of it. I'll point out that this video is for fairly senior ranked technologists. If you are a brand new programmer, you're not even a lead, the chances that the advice that are in here, except for the second to last slide, will help you are very low. But if you've been in IT for over 10 years and you're in some sort of leadership position, you need to understand this concept, and you need to understand how to detect it, and then you need to decide what to do about it. And that's what the rest of the video is all about. 7 key warning signs that things are going very, very badly. If you miss a few goals and milestones, it's not a big deal. In fact, all of these are not a big deal all by themselves. But trending over a period of time, 3 months, 6 months, or something calamitous all at once that shows 3 or more of these problems is a big bad warning sign. It's the trend we care about. Trending up, bad. Trending up very fast, very bad. And never leveling out and never trending down and never hearing about anything that will make any of these problems any better. If we start to take our risk register, which is responsible software professionals, we keep a risk register. I've talked about this a lot, whether it's in ADO or Excel, doesn't matter, but the people who make decisions need to have a matrix put in front of them that says, this is a potential risk that would impact our ability to reach our goals. This is what triggers the risk. This is how you know the risk has happened, and here are some possible remediations for the risk. And here are some of the consequences. And then they get to manage that. That's their job. If you go into deliverable planning exercises, and the cake they plan to bake is enormous, and the resources you have to bake the cake would result in half a cupcake, there's a problem. And if you point this out, like you say, well, if we add up all the story points for this next release, which is going to be delivered in 2 months, and we add up the capacity of all the teams that can deliver on that, in addition to their existing maintenance and other responsibilities, they're totally misaligned. And the powers that be go, it'll all work out. We think you overestimated anyway. And particularly if this happens more than once, if we do not learn from the experience. So the first couple times we plan, they can complain that we overestimated, or, that there's something else that's not entirely happy making. But, if that keeps happening, not so good. If you start losing people, or you start listening to your team members or your peers kind of go, no. Particularly if your organization does something to smart size your organization. What's smart sizing? Smart sizing is when management does something that so offends the sensibilities and feelings of safety of key personnel, of critical resources of any rank, but the best people with this specialty, the best people with that specialty, the best developers, the best program managers, the best whatever, and they start to leave, that's smart sizing. Smart sizing means that the people making the decisions are incapable or unwilling to recognize who the humans are that would make something successful. Or they make a decision that is so contrary to the goals of the organization and your ability to deliver to production. Because again, as software professionals, we have one and only one goal, and that's shipping. We got to ship. We got to do it with tempo, and we have to manage the risk. Spoken a lot about this. So if they come along and say, lay off everyone in quality assurance because who needs QA? Danger Will Robinson. If quality goes down and debt goes up, whether that's technical or business debt, like if you have any insight at all into the financials of your company, particularly if it's a publicly traded company, you can keep an eye on their debt. And if things are getting worse technically, and also or things are going in a bad direction from the business point of view, that's a really bad sign. Leadership churn. I've heard of projects that have had 4 executives in 6 months. So when I say executive, I mean the human that is the ultimate decision maker on any project of any size. When there's churn in that, when the ultimate human that someone would appeal to and say, A or B, please, and that's the human that gets to make the choice because typically they own the budget, right? And that churns, that's a really bad sign, because what it means is somebody landed in that seat, started reading through all the confidential data and memos and looking at all of the different metrics and things about, quality and the future of the project, and decided to flee the building, or at least the project. And so you get leadership churn. That's a bad sign, because one presumes that those people got to see the whole unvarnished truth and fled while the fleeing was good. And lastly, if you're unhappy because there's no way that this project is going to help you with your desired career mobility or prospects. And by the way, saying I've hit the place in my career that's the magic intersection between responsibility and my personal life, right? That is completely legit. But if you think that that's now put at risk, that's what I mean by prospects. Well, my invariant advice for every situation is keep calm and make a plan. Because until you have a plan, you can't make judgments about whether or not the plan is actually actionable. Like, you have to write down a series of steps. But what you have to do, if you're going to do that, is you have to decide to be an agent of change. And we'll talk about that a little more in a minute. And then, you have to be super careful when you sell your plan that you lay out what does victory look like. Have measurable things. Remember, we've talked about SMART a lot. And if you don't remember the SMART algorithm, go Google it or watch one of my other videos. And then you got to lay out what's required for success. Like, management's got to stand behind my decisions, even if they're unpopular, because this is what the plan calls for. The plan you're signing off on, the plan you're giving me resources. What do resources mean? It means money. It always means money. Everything is money. People is money. Equipment's money. Things are just money. They don't give you budget. They don't give you success. And other mandatory conditions, like I get to choose in key leadership positions who is in and who is out. You don't get to gift somebody's cousin to me just because and put my project at risk. And you have to be blisteringly clear. And well-written plans are adverb free. And they are, the test of a plan is if you give your plan to a BA, if they can make a decision tree out of it or a flow chart, that's a good plan. Especially if it's covered in milestones and tripwires, right? Milestones are things we've achieved. Tripwires are things that, if they happen, put the project at risk, right? What triggers a risk? It's called a tripwire. But here's the thing. And again, I'm speaking to the senior technologists. Before you go down the road of investing quite a bit of time in making a plan, and if it's a project of any size, making that plan is going to eat up your nights and weekends. It can't be part of your day job generally, unless you're asked specifically to do it, which you're not going to be. Then you got to ask, man, is this the hill I want to die on? Right? If you're stuck at some directory type place and you really want to go up the rung into the C sphere, this is an avenue to do it, right? You prove you can turn something around, that you're a turnaround manager, and a C will follow you. But you had better make sure that you're not doing this just for your own amusement. There had better be a concrete award at the end, a promotion, a raise, a bonus. It can't just be, dinner at TGI McFunsters and a pat on the head and a paper certificate. If you're going to put your career and your CV and your sanity at risk, you had better be damn sure that A, this is a hill you want to die on, and B, that you can pull it off. And if at any time during the execution of the plan they violate any of the terms and conditions, you don't get the budget, they Bigfoot you on the decisions they agreed they'd let you make, etc., it's time to consider your ultimate alternative, which is to exit stage right. If you think that you're sliding into perdition at any rank, update your resume. In fact, a good success skill for people who manage their careers is they should be doing 1 and 2 constantly. I have a reminder, I update my resume twice a month. While it's fresh in my head, like what I've been doing. And become very carefully active on LinkedIn. Many of you know that I famously despise other more casual social media, but LinkedIn is your professional persona, or should be. And if you have a YouTube channel or a separate Twitter or whatever, you should make sure your personal and private life don't go into collision with each other. So if you want to keep your doors open, your opportunities open, your escape open, your resume and your LinkedIn activity very carefully curated, need to be maintained continuously. Document what happened in your mind and what you personally tried to do about it, even if it's just a recommendation for when you do exit. And a good exit memo is going to be remembered by people you will invariably cross paths with in the future. And then carefully consider what you should say, what you're allowed to say to a new employer or prospective new employer. You're under an NDA, I almost guarantee it. And the only thing that breaks an NDA are guys with guns and lawyers with pieces of paper. Anything short of that, you need to be really careful about what you say. And understand that you may be contacted by recruiters or by prospective employers that are actually looking for an opportunity. They are agents of whatever. And if you are ill-considered, particularly if it's a publicly traded company, they can come after you with hot and cold running lawyers. So be considerate. And the higher you are in rank, the more you really should find a lawyer who you pay to consult with. And then always exit carefully and on the best terms you can. I've decided to make a new avenue in my career. I want to make sure that I transition in a way that is going to have the least impact that I can, given my time parameters. I can't hang out forever. But, if it's a week here, a week there, if there's something I can do to help transition, I'd be more than happy to do. Because your peers will remember that about you. My name's Stuart. Thank you for your kind attention.